What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new episode of TAETRO Talks. So happy to be with you today. I'm standing. We're doing a standing show today because why not? My desk can go into standing mode, so I figured let's give it a shot. Back home, there's this radio show I used to listen to, and it's like a 3-hour radio show, and the hosts would do it standing, so I thought that was cool. And I just figured I'd give it a try. I was also playing some keyboard yesterday, so I was like standing and playing, kept it in standing mode. Why not just switch things up a bit? You get a different visual, keeps things fresh. But hey, thank you all for stopping by and hanging out today. TAETRO Talks, we do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST. Sometimes we have really cool guests from the music industry. We've had people like Laura Escade, who's currently working and playing on the set of American Idol. We've had Sanjay C, who just had a birthday. We've had Gnarly Beats. We've had Neon Vines, amazing performer. And we've had a bunch of really amazing producers, touring artists, teachers, people who make MIDI controllers, all that good stuff. So that's fun. And then sometimes you all get to be the guests on the show, which is even more fun because we get to talk, we get to chat. I get to go on these little rants and talk about some of the more philosophical, creative side of being a home studio music producer, you know, versus like the technical stuff that I talk about all the time in tutorials, you know, like what kind of gear to buy, how to use effects, different mixing techniques. That's not what this show is about. This show is about like what's really burning inside you and keeping you from achieving your goals as a home studio music producer, what's holding you back motivation wise, creative growth, that sort of thing. That's what we talk about here on the show. So I'm excited to take some calls from you all. If you don't know how this works, I have dropped a Zoom link in the chat, and I'll drop it once again here. And you can click that link and join on Zoom. You get put into a waiting room, so it's not like you click the link and you're immediately on air. No, you click the link and you are in the waiting room, and I will pull people in from the waiting room as we go, one at a time. You're not going to be on camera, so don't worry. It'll just be audio. So if you're a little shy, don't worry too much about that. If you have never called into the show, I want this to be your first time calling in. So please use that Zoom link. Jump in. When you do that, make sure your audio devices are set properly, your audio input, your microphone, your audio output. And when I do take your call, make sure you mute the stream in the background because it'll be on a slight delay. And that will be weird. Just listen to me through Zoom, mute the stream, or pause the stream. But I want to say hello to everybody who is in chat and remind you all that we are a production of 343 TV, which airs multiple times a week on youtube.com/343labs. I've got my show, and then we've got a few shows that talk about, you know, techno, music production, arranging, mixing. Tomorrow, Justin Beck about sampling in Ableton Live, so that should be a fun show. But that's available on 343 Labs YouTube channel. And you all know I love a good sample challenge, and 343 Labs has decided to start doing a monthly community sample challenge, which you can get access to by joining our Discord. I put the link in my description. The link is also in the description of the 343 Labs stream. So that's really cool. Join us. I'm going to be reviewing the tracks with community member and new to the 343 team, I should say, Nefertiti Gold will be joining. I think we're also going to take on the challenge. We're going to be judging. I think Justin Beck is joining me as well, but we're reviewing those on June 1st. So you have like all month to work on a track. It's our own Max Wild playing saxophone. So that should be a fun sample to flip. I would love to hear it. I did say I wanted to shout out my members. So Drunk Bishop, my dad honorary member, is listening while working, which is amazing. I'm gonna call the police. Just retire. That's all I have to say. Suru, Samuel Messiah is here. Lil Ransom, Kirky Beats, Taylor Deemer, Drunk Bishop. I can't remember if I'm saying these names twice. Enigmatic Onion, how's it going? Thank you all for being here. Where's the wheel at? It says Too Nice. The wheel is still here. Don't worry. It's just off screen. We will spin it should we need to. How can I spin the wheel if I'm standing up? I can still spin the wheel. It can go on the table. I can stack it on some books. I did think about this. I just didn't think of a solution. What's up, Zaire? Hey, if you're already in the waiting room, which I see we have a bit of a stacked waiting room already, just be patient because we're going to get to these calls. The title today is talking about setting expectations, which I think is a really important topic. let's kind of get into it. I'm going to pause the background music. I posted on Twitter the other day, and I think it's a good jumping off point to talk about setting expectations as a home studio music producer or just as a creative person in general. So let me swap over to here, this button. So I asked, what's an unrealistic expectation you set for yourself? I got 2 replies, and they both are indicative of 2 types of, responses to this question. First one was from Tony Maria, who said, I'll become an engineer, with a sarcastic, happy face. So to me, that's not an unrealistic expectation. And when we're thinking about expectations in general, unrealistic expectations, whatever, sometimes our goals and what we want to achieve seems very far away, seems very far out of reach, but it's not always very far away and very far out of reach. It's just a matter of reverse engineering what it is you actually want to do and what it takes to get there. And something like becoming an engineer, assuming we're talking about becoming an audio engineer, it's a very clear pathway. There's very many case studies, quote unquote, to study. You should just follow as many people as you can working in the industry in that role and figure out what their exact journey was. And there's tons of podcasts and things available out there where you can hear famous audio engineers talk about their journey. And not every journey is the same, but there's plenty of blueprints out there for you to follow. And also have confidence in yourself that you can do these things. I don't think just because something is not in your grasp today, in this current moment, does not mean that 6 months, a year from now, maybe even a week from now, that it isn't achievable. But there are steps to get there. You just have to figure out where's the end point and what are the steps you need to take in between now and that end point. And what's a good goal? What's a realistic goal for achieving that? If you have to get a 4-year degree to enter into your job of choice or enter into this career path of choice, then set your expectations accordingly. If you need that 4-year degree, don't say you want to be that tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense. The other one is a little bit more in the vein of what I usually get. This other tweet reply. What's an unrealistic expectation you set for yourself? And Greg David said, gaining as much recognition as time and effort put in. Reality, though. Yes. So this is how a lot of folks set themselves up to be pretty unhappy, and a lot of folks set themselves up to be to have these unrealistic expectations, because you're going to put in as much work as you can, right, to achieve your goals. You're going to be working really hard. You're going to be in the studio, improving on your skills. We've talked about a lot of things on the stream about how to properly work towards your goals and how to not pretend that you're working towards your goals. You should watch the previous episode if you're struggling with that. But just because you put in the work in doesn't mean anybody is going to give you any kind of recognition. You shouldn't be seeking recognition. Of course, we don't just make music in a vacuum. We want people to hear it. We want people to listen to it. We want people to like it. But if your happiness is tied to other people's recognition of you working hard or your work, it's a road to disaster. My reply was, recognition in relation to your hard work is a losing battle, unless you only care about the recognition you give yourself. So it seems to me like Greg David here on Twitter recognizes that he is working hard and that he is putting in time and effort. And what we need to train our brains to do is feel good about our own opinions rather than everybody else's opinion and everybody else's recognition. If you sit down at the end of the day and you said, I worked hard, I did the best that I could, I put in as much effort as possible, and that's all you care about, everything else is just gravy on top. If a few people listen to your music, if somebody gave you a pat on the back, epic. But that's not what your happiness should be tied to. That should just be icing on the cake. Your happiness should be tied to your own recognition and your own expectations of yourself. Something to think about. That's the conversation started today. Oh, I see people saying spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. Who's coming through with the golden question? So if you don't know, we have a wheel that we spin whenever somebody comes through. Yes, Flexi06. We got you. We got you, Flexi. Let's show that on screen. Flexi06, of course, came in and I lost it immediately. What MIDI controller shall I buy, says Flexi. And you know what we do, because we get this question all the time, right? So the solution that we've come up with here on this show is, since I've made about 645 videos about what MIDI controller one should buy, I have in turn created a wheel the wheel of MIDI, if you will, where what happens is, since you're in the market for a MIDI controller, you've already watched the 647 videos that I've created about which MIDI controller to buy. You've already done the research, so you have all the possible knowledge you could possibly know about MIDI controllers, but you still can't make a decision. So if knowledge and logic and facts are not going to help you make a decision, we will leave it to chance. And we have a selection of amazing MIDI controllers here. I do need a stand if I'm going to be standing on this, but, I'm just going to hold it today. We're going to spin the wheel for Flexi. All right? Flexi, a lot of good choices on here. Let's hope for a good one. Oh, I should also mention that I'm not a legal expert, but you are legally obligated to purchase whatever MIDI controller the wheel lands on. So here we go. Place your bets now. We're about to spin the wheel. Here we go. What do we got? Oh, not a bad choice. The Novation Launch Key Mini. Flexi, you are now legally obligated to get the Novation Launch Key Mini. What a good choice. It's not landed on Cat Piano yet, I don't think. Not in the history of the wheel. Shout out to Flexi. I hope that was helpful, Flexi. But at the end of the day, just buy one. It's not that serious. The more time you spend agonizing over what gear to buy, the less time you spend making music. And isn't that the point of it all anyway? We got to get to the calls, my friends. But hopefully that talk about expectations was a good little brief talk. Just have you set your mind towards what expectations are you setting for yourself? Are they realistic? Are you setting expectations for what other people are going to do? Because that's not helpful to you at all. You know, set expectations for yourself. Okay. Oh, ZR says, I got Launch Key 49 and it's pretty badass, TBH. Nice. Lit. Okay. Shall we get into the calls? I got a full waiting room here, so let's dive right in. We're going to start with Zaire B. Zaire B coming in over Zoom. Make sure you mute the stream when I bring you on and set your mic appropriately. Here we go, taking our first call of the day. I'm going to drop the Zoom link again for anybody who hasn't had the chance to call in yet. Zaire B, make sure your audio input device is selected. Bottom left, microphone. Can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much for calling in, my friend. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great. Standing has a different energy for this show. That's what I think.
Gotta stay grounded, I see it.
Very sure. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from the Chicago area.
Amazing. Well, how are you today? Tell me what you want to talk about.
Pretty good. I had a few questions. Just needed some advice on some things.
Let's get into it.
So, I have all the equipment that I need to, pursue a music career, and I've been studying music for a long time. And
perfect.
But how do I start making actual money from it or something? How should I start? Should I start with a YouTube channel, or should I just start releasing singles or something like that? I think it's a realistic expectation that everyone has to want to make money off of, their passions,
Sure.
But a lot of people put unrealistic pressure on themselves to be oh, I'm going to be the next big Lady Gaga.
Exactly.
Yeah. So where can you start small and then build yourself up to actually start to see some kind of funds from it and actually have fun with it?
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you have that lens that you're seeing it through, because I get a little worried when I hear this question. People, all right, I got my studio put together. I'm going to start making some music. Now, how do I monetize that? And it really is a long road. So you're right to point out the example of Lady Gaga is actually a really good one. There's that article from a little bit ago from when she was in college. Lady Gaga actually, somebody in her college or in her school made a Facebook page that a bunch of people joined that said, I forget what her real name is, Stephanie something, you'll never be famous. And they made that Facebook group to bully her and say she'll never be famous. And now she's Lady Gaga. But just think about that timeline of Lady Gaga was this hardworking musician, playing gigs, who could have guessed, who could have imagined, probably not even her, what her fame and stardom would grow into. So let's have that realization first, that what our potential and what we could possibly become, we can't even really imagine it. That's how big the possibilities are. But then at the zoomed in level, you're just starting out, you got your music, you've been studying music, you've got your studio and stuff together. What do you do to start? I would say it's not to start monetizing, but it's to start heading towards monetization and earning a living, making an income. And I think that you are 100% right in saying, what do I do? Start a YouTube channel? I think starting a YouTube channel, yes, but it's more about building a community. And I think doing that on social media, now everybody has the capabilities to do it, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of the above. I think you should do as much as you have the capacity for. And make content that is going to gather people around you and your music. So for me, if you follow my model, what I did was I started making music and then doing instructional content around that music, teaching people how to make it. And then a community formed. And suddenly we have stuff like this, a call-in show where I get to chat with people like you from all around the world, right? So, and that does generate an income for me in multiple ways, because I get paid from Google AdSense. If I recommend gear and I use a referral link, I get paid from that. If I make sponsored content with brands who want access to my audience or want me to make a cool piece of content, that brings me income. The realistic side of it. Oh, and also on the consulting side, right? Like, so I learned so much about social media, making content, making videos, whatever. I can go generate income now from consulting on different creative projects like that. The reality of it is music making, selling a song for 99 cents, but people don't even buy songs for 99 cents. They stream. So trying to sell your music in a market where a stream is worth 0.000017 cents is
on a dollar,
is insane. It's insane that's like playing the lottery. You might as well just go buy a lottery ticket every single day, because the only way to generate a real income stream from that is if you have a song that blows up, which yes, create content and work towards that, but don't rely on that as being something that's going to happen. Always be working towards it, but don't say like, this is what's going to happen. You can't control if that's what's going to happen. So to me,
just have like multiple avenues that are surrounded by your music. Like, let the music be the backbone, but have like so many different branches to the tree of creation that you do.
I was listening to a podcast the other day with Logic's manager, and this is the manager that he had been with ever since they were riding around in a small van and doing their first tour. And he said he thinks that music is just promotion for your brand at this point, because music is such like until you hit it big time, until you get that big song, and even when you get that big song, the payout is not that going to be that huge. Like if you hit the lottery and you get playlisted, or if you hit the lottery and it becomes a TikTok sensation, whatever that lottery ticket moment is, at some point, like that's going to go away. So maybe you have one nice payday, but then what's the sustainable career? It's like you're building a brand. You're not just making music. You're building a brand. I think that's what people have to
That's what I heard from like Russ, like listening to him speak on like being an independent artist and stuff like that. So and like seeing you do it like all from the ground up, it makes a lot of sense. But it's like, man, it's like you're putting a lot of weight on your shoulders because you have those unrealistic expectations. You know, you're like, okay, if I buy this and buy that, if I get that great MIDI controller.
And it literally doesn't even matter. Like if I lost all my gear today and I just had my laptop, I'd still be doing what I'm doing, and I would still be making music. Like it never goes away. So once you realize that, like I tweeted about this today, but it's about being in love with the process. Like I am in love with the process of making music, of making videos, of making creative stuff. I just love that process. So no matter what happens at the end of the day, now I'm a human too. I have to give myself reality checks around my own expectations around how a piece of content's going to perform, what people say to me, how it's received. So I definitely have moments where I am feeling down because of things that I can't control. And I work hard on that every day to not have those feelings, but I'm human, right? We work against that. But at the end of the day, the thing that I love the most is making the music, is making something creative and like actually doing it. So as soon as I finish something, like release something, whether it's a video or a track, whatever it may be, I am on to the next thing. Like I'm not sitting and waiting for people to give me a
The
standing
right time.
ovation or or even the right time to release something, like I am always on to the next thing because that's what I'm all
That's
about.
always what I battle with the most is like finding the right time.
No, that right now is the right time. That's the thing. There is
Right.
no like with the knowledge that we have, even in the work that I do with social media, I don't know. Like the algorithm is a crapshoot sometimes, and how people behave is, it's human behavior. It's unpredictable a lot of the time. So as much as I know about all that social media stuff, I just launched my new artist project, and I waited for so long for like the right time, quote unquote. But I realized the right time is now. Just start doing it. There's not going to be some shooting star moment where it's like, okay, now. It's like, no, just
Yeah.
get started.
That cover was really great, by the way. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I have original stuff coming out too, but that is a big example for me of like just trying to execute on all the stuff that I say, like I have these songs, I want to release them, I want to put them out. I'm done waiting for the right moment. I'm done having expectations of what people should think. I'm doing it for me. And that's what it's all about. So like if you can build that same thing for yourself, work towards monetization and open yourself up to the many pathways for income that are not
Yeah.
just the lottery ticket form of income. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that call. That's a great first call to start the day.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my friend. Please check in on a future call-in show and let's talk more about how it's going.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, let's keep going. That was a good first call. We were talking about the second artist project that I just dropped, which is called PhaceX, PhaceX .x on Instagram. So hopefully you've all had a chance to check it out. I just released the cover of 1,000 Miles. It's like a hyperpop project. It's music with lyrics and vocals and everything. More originals to come. Gonna drop 1,000 Miles visual this week. So that should be fun. We got more calls to take though, so let's get it going. I got music producer Ghost coming in now. Music producer Ghosts. Make sure you have your mic set. I'll give you a minute. I'll take a look at the chat while I'm waiting. Hi, Diana. I'm well. Thank you so much for joining. We're standing today. Music producer Ghost. Yes, I see you in the chat. I've got you here. You just got to set your microphone. In Zoom, it's like the bottom left, little up arrow. Make sure you select the right microphone. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes and say hello to chat while we are waiting. Do I have a chat view today? Yes. Here we go. PhaceX. Yes, with a PH though. Music blocks ins. With a PH. Hi. Oh, yes. Hi from Dubai. Wow, amazing. Hello, Kelly. Nice to see you. Thanks everybody for joining today. I hope what we're talking about is helpful. Oh, Nefertiti Gold in the chat. What is good? What is good? Too nice. Common Beats. Common Beats is doing some cool streams over on his channel, so you should check that out if you're looking to learn more about lo-fi music and stuff. Common Beats, brand new channel out there. All right, music producer Ghost. I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room, but I will bring you back in if you can figure out your mic situation. Please do that. The next person I have is called, what just happened, is named Nick, which is a great name if I do say so myself. So let's bring Nick on to the show. If it will work. Here we go. And we're connecting to audio again. STK, you're here. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Nick. How's it going?
Hi, TAETRO. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nick, is this your first time calling into the show?
Yes, very excited. I planned to do it a long time ago, and now it's happening.
Awesome. Where are you calling in from?
Germany.
Germany. Amazing. Well, 343 Labs has a classroom in Germany, in Berlin, actually. What part of Germany are you from?
Hamburg.
Hamburg. Amazing. And I say Nick is a great name because that is also my name.
Yes, I know. I'm the German Nick.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in. What do you want to talk about today?
Okay, I have two big questions because I've been in the Ableton game for about 1.5 years.
Nice.
So far, I just had music school. You learn songs. I learned improvising a little bit. And it's been quite a long journey, like a steep learning curve with Ableton. but I love it. It's working now. I also took to heart what you said by making a beat every day. That really helped to, at the beginning, I just got stuck so many times and I hated the outcome. But then now I can live with what's coming out. It's just producing more and more. That's really, that was really a great tip. And there's two things. One thing, what I really miss if I watch YouTube videos, it's a lot about gear and how to produce and using VSTs and so on. But what I sometimes miss is what to play or how to play. For example, the worst thing for me is, for example, if Native Instruments has a new expansion and it looks awesome and it sounds awesome, for examples, and then I load it up and then I go, it's like, where do people come up with the beats? I mean, you can try to copy people, emulate people, do more and more, but sometimes I miss this, that someone shows you like examples how to get there.
For sure. I think you're totally right in that the YouTube landscape for electronic music content and stuff like that is totally very technical based. It's very like, here's this plugin, here's how to mix this, etc. It's not, but because I think it is very challenging to teach the concept of like how to come up with musical ideas. Of course, like we can break down like how to do melodies, how to do harmonies, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is what you have like in your brain. I talk about my brain as like an encyclopedia of all the music that I've ever listened to and consumed and liked, right? Because it's not so much about copying artists, it's about references. Like any art form has this, whether you're a painter, whether you draw in a sketchbook, whether you're a writer, we all have consumed some type of art that we really liked. In our instance, it's music. And for me, I'm reverse engineering every single piece of music, every single movie, every single whatever that I consume that I really like. I want to know how it was made. Why do I like this? Like what is triggering that in my brain? So I just do deep dives on that. And a lot of times the black and white answer is not there, especially when like I like contemporary music. So if an artist just released a song, there's not always a full production breakdown of the song unless I'm lucky, and sometimes there is. So I am relying on my own knowledge, my own skill to break down these tracks, figure out what actually makes this track work. Like for instance, I'm listening to the new ITZY album that came out, and they have a lot of really hard trap style beats that will switch up to a little bit like EDM-ish at some points. But what I'm doing is just listening to that music, and I'm not physically writing it down in a notebook because I can do it in my head, but I'm listening to the sections and I'm literally outlining in my head, what is the instrumentation in this section? What are they playing? Oh, they're playing a minor scale, or they're not just playing a minor scale, they're playing a harmonic minor scale. And the lead is playing up here, but then when we switch to the verse, the lead goes down an octave. And oh, there's an 808 here, but it's not actually following the bass line, it's just playing a single note. And then there's only like 4 instruments happening right now. So like when I break all that down in my brain and I have that all in my head, when I go to sit down to make a track, I'm not just doing guesswork. I'm like, okay, they use this kind of lead sound. Let me find something like that in my library. They only used 4 key sounds in this section. Let me build a section I don't have to overload my section. They only used 4. Let me just use 4. 808 did 1. Like I just transfer everything that I like about music that I hear into the music that I make. So for you, it just might have to be really being more diligent and listening critically to the music that you like. And if you do learn better with a notebook, I definitely encourage people to sit with a notebook and just take notes on tracks that they really like and try to write down every single detail you can pick out. And when you don't understand something, like when there's a chord progression and you're like, I really like that chord progression, but I have no idea what it is, like dive deeper and try to figure out what it is, whether that's using your ears and sitting down with the piano and trying to play it out, or whether that's going to find a chord chart online and seeing if somebody has already done the work for you and figuring out how that transfers into your music. And then the magic of it is when you're creating your music, because we don't want to necessarily just copy one artist. The magic of it goes back to that idea of the encyclopedia in your brain of all the music that you love. because once you do that for enough music, once you have that bit of analysis done for that all the music that you love, you start to pull in references from a variety of influences. So I might pull in the instrumentation style of a Itzy song that leans more in the trap world, with the guitar from a 1975 song that I really like, with some ambience that from lo-fi music that I like. And once I throw those three ingredients into a pot, now I have this new recipe, you know? So that's what you have to constantly be doing. And whether you do it in your head or on a notebook, you should just listen super critically to all the music that you love and dissect it, literally piece by piece, understand why you like it.
And is it for you, is it really like two stages, like one cerebral stage where you dissect it and then later stage where you play, or do you sometimes jam with a song you like and then try to copy it, emulate, or be part of it?
It's not super regimented, but I get a little bit obsessive over things that I listen to, and I listen to things over and over and over again. So it's very easy to internalize. And then what happens is I don't just sit down with a blank Ableton project and say, well, what are we doing today? Usually I sit down and I say, all right, I want to make a track in this style. And I have the reference in my head already when I sit down. So then I'm rethinking back to like, okay, what does that have? And maybe occasionally, if I'm feeling stunted, if I'm feeling like I'm not executing well, I'll go back and bring up the track. Okay, let me actually listen back to this. What am I missing? Like, what element is missing here? And then I try to fill in the blanks. But usually I just try to internalize the music as much as possible. And of course, I'm not doing everything in one sitting anyway. So maybe I sit down and I make one part of a track, come back to it a day later after I've done some more listening, or after, if I walked away with some question like, where does this track need to go? What is this track missing? When I walk away from that track and I spend the next day listening to the music that I like, I have that in the back of my brain. So when something pops up, for instance, like with this new project that I'm working on, I have this original song that was originally like kind of like this slower half speed feel, had the instrumental done and everything, but it just wasn't clicking. It was feeling too slow. And then eventually I was listening to this track that had some break beats, kind of drum and bass in it, where it was kind of double time. And I just had this aha moment where I was like, that's what it is. If I add like this double time drum and bass feel to this track, it's going to take it to the next level. And lo and behold, it did. So sometimes it just takes time, and it takes that shower moment like that. That's literally, I listen to music in the shower. So it's like, I just like have some of those moments sometimes where I'm like, that's what it needs. That's what it's missing. And I just make mental note. Next time I sit down and work on the project, I apply that. It's just like I'm constantly pulling from references. I think there's too much pressure. I think like people from outside the music world and people in the academic music world they don't, there's not a good way that people talk about references. People talk about references like as if it's copying, as if it's ripping somebody off, as if you have to reinvent the wheel every time you make a piece of music. And that's just not the reality of how music works.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because when I create something, I don't even know where it's coming from. And I don't think you have to try hard not to copy people, because you automatically mix from what you've heard so far. And that comes from somewhere. So yeah, okay, I get you there.
Yeah, you can totally, and you know what? We're all influenced by everything we consume. Beethoven influenced by everything he consumed. Bach, same thing. Any musician, any composer, every musician that you love, influenced by something. So this idea that we're not supposed to quote unquote copy or be influenced, do I think that there's a line between, okay, you're literally just copying this exact style? Yeah, there's probably a line there. But at the end of the day, if doing that makes you happy, who cares? Like it circles back to the happiness conversation. Like, who cares about the judgment of other people, you know?
Exactly.
I hope that covered the question.
Yes, my first question, and I have a second one, which is
Let's
a
go
real
into
big
it.
thing for me. I also like to create songs that I can share and upload somewhere, but mainly I went into Ableton because my dream is to be a live looper.
Nice.
But I have very little experience with like a looping pedal with guitar. So I went straight to Ableton because I thought, wow, you can change things. You can have different tracks. You can put things together. You can add drums and so on. But I was shocked that when you're with a pedal, you play 100%. But with Ableton, I found out I play 5% and 95% is fixing things, moving things, copying things, effects, producing. And somehow I want to get to at least half. I don't know why I spend so much time clicking. It's so
I
cerebral.
hear you. And I know why, because I have struggled with the same thing too. And you're right that it's totally not the same thing. Like pedal looping, you're sitting there with your instrument or your voice or whatever and your pedal and you're looping. You're literally creating every idea. You're not worried about like quantization or whatever. It's more free flowing. But the beauty of live is it gives us the ability to do things that are a little more complex. But with that complexity comes another level of things that are kind of pain points, like a little bit more tinkering, like you said, a little less organic flow. So I don't have the perfect solution, but in knowing that and knowing that live is going to allow us to do a little bit more advanced things from a looping performance perspective, I definitely, first of all, recommend you check out Trick, who is a 343 Labs instructor. Also, I don't know if you've heard of her music, but she does a lot of live performances. It's Trick with the exclamation point for the I on YouTube. She does a lot of really amazing performances, but one of the main things I learned from her and her performance style is with live and with performing, it doesn't have to be like that pedal looping performance. You don't have to play every single musical idea. You don't have to cue in every musical idea. Some things can just already be existing on the timeline, and you can just plan out exactly what parts you want to play and work through the song that way. Because I think the problem and the trouble with some of the pedal looping performances and looping performances in general is, since you are playing like every single idea, it goes on for so long, and it goes on for longer than your intended end product was not intended to be this long thing, but because of the process of looping, it becomes like double or triple or quadruple the length. So what I learned from Daltrick, just summarize that, is like she has worked on a number of different types of live performances, but she will map things out so that the things that she wants to play, she plays, and the things that she doesn't need to play but still contribute to the song, these different parts, are still happening. So I would, if I were you, pursue a little bit of that. Try to figure out the sweet spot, figure out exactly in a track what you want to play, what parts you want to play, what parts you don't want to play that are still vital to the song, and then map out an arrangement that gives you the space where you don't have to actually do the looping process for every single instrument. I think that is the sweet spot with Ableton Live performances for sure.
Okay. I also wish that there was more on that, because there's such a huge gap. As you said, you can watch a performance, but how they get there, like teaching how to get there. I wish there was more to learn from.
I think because there's no standardized way that with all of these things, when there's no standardized, clear way to do something, that's when the information is not always readily available. Like Bink Beats is one of the great performers in looping. I'm sure you know if you're into this stuff. But first of all, the way that he does what he does is super complicated, which, he gets a fantastic end result. But it's not accessible to everybody. And even the information out there about how he runs his process is not super, accessible. So I'm going to keep working on my channel. I've done a couple looping videos of like my approach and my techniques. My whole mission is to make this type of information accessible, to make the information about what I do specifically accessible so people can understand it. So I'm going to keep working to do that. But as you continue on your journey, just realize that you might not be able to rely on other people. You might have to forge your own path,
Yeah, I really like what you did. I remember you had videos where you said, okay, that's where I edited, and normally it took quite long. And now I show you how it's unedited. I really like that. That helps so much in bridging the gap between someone at home in their bedroom and the YouTube stars who maybe set 10 hours or 3 days on something and make it look like it's 3 minutes.
Well, let me put this out there too, and then I got to get on to the rest of the calls. But I had Neon Vines on the show. If you didn't watch that interview, I definitely recommend you watch that. But Neon Vines is this amazing performer and live, so many amazing live performances. And she told me like it takes like a whole, like she'll do a track, like a normal track, 3-4 minutes. And she told me something like it takes like a whole month to pull that together. So like, let's set our expectations realistically. Hey, it goes back to the topic of the show. Like, just because we see somebody on the internet doing this amazing thing, we have to be smart enough as artists to know that didn't just happen in those 3 minutes. That happened after a month, 3 months, a year, a lifetime of experience and work and studying and putting stuff together to put this 3-minute thing together, you know? So we should always be viewing all content like that. And then that helps us set our expectations for ourselves appropriately.
Definitely. TAETRO, thank you so much for being part of my journey.
Hey, thank you so much. You're being part of my journey too. So thank you so much for calling in and being a part of the community. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Peace. The German Nick, everybody. Well, we're 40 minutes in the show and we've taken 2 calls, my friends. We're doing well. Music producer Ghost, you are very excited. I've got you here in the chat. My gosh. Let's enable your microphone, unmute yourself, and we'll be good to go. I have asked you to unmute. I know how excited you are to be on the show, but let's get you on here. Hope you all are doing well.
Hello.
What is going on? Music producer Ghost, you made it.
How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for calling into the show. Where are you calling in from?
I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I'm really sorry for spamming in chat to allow me in.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to do that, though, because we see every message. So don't worry. Next time, you know, we
and
got
also,
you.
So I'm a 14-year-old and it's like midnight for me right now. So I might get pushed into bed by my parents. So can I also join next call? Yes. So actually, what I wanted to come to talk in this live stream was mainly because I'm a 14-year-old. So making music for me is quite impossible if I don't have the gadgets and I can't go back everything to my parents, which is some equipment of music producing are quite expensive. So
do you have a computer?
Yes, I do have a computer.
Do you have a phone?
The thing is that, yes, I do have a phone.
So what other gadgets do you need?
Like a microphone, you know, audio mixer.
You're talking to me on a microphone right now. What do you need an audio mixer for? What audio what are you mixing?
Like music and stuff. I mean, I have a mixer, but
your DAW has a mixer in it. Your phone, whatever music program you make on your computer on your phone, that has a mixer in it. You don't need an audio mixer.
Yes, you're correct.
Right? Like,
yes,
are you just telling yourself that you need gear and that it's hard so that you have an excuse to not do it? Why don't you just use the tools that you have to do what you can?
Yes, I was thinking it like that way, exactly what you said. I was like, I don't have this, I don't have that. But now recently I started to understand, like, wait, I have this, I could do things with this.
Exactly.
I could manage.
Exactly.
I could manage. Who said I can't?
Exactly. If you keep thinking that, and it's not going to be easy because you're going to see people that have way more than you. You're going to see people that have access to things that you don't have access to. And it's going to be hard, but you have to keep reminding yourself. If it's that is the this mindset, the growth mindset, this mindset that you have, not that you don't have, not a lacking mindset, right? I have this, so what can I do with this? That is what has got me through. And I know I have a lot of gear right now, but I didn't always have a lot of gear. But I always just focused on what do I have and what can I do with what I have, and tried to make the best of that. But you're gonna have to keep reminding yourself of that. So you're always going to feel some type of way. Just keep that mindset.
Yes. I also started to usually think that not everything is available to everyone in this world.
Yep.
I sometimes imagine how many hit songs might have not even existed because there was a person who was not able to access technology and put things down so the hit song would be produced.
Let me reverse that question. How many hit songs that actually happened would not have happened if the person had not made the song because they didn't have XYZ equipment? That's another way to think of that, because you know there's that famous interview with Skrillex talks about mixing his big hit song on broken speakers. Like, what if you can write the next big hit song, but because you're like, I don't have this gear, I don't have that gear, I don't have whatever, you don't make it. But what if you could have made that song on your phone?
Yes, after knowing all these facts that recently I'm like, I have this, I have that, I could make music with this. No one is gonna stop with me, and I don't need to beg anyone to buy me this and that.
Exactly.
And then I started to think, saying that like like you can imagine in an unrealistic way to be like, I'm gonna be the next big producer. I'm gonna make the biggest song in this entire world, which is gonna bomb up. But like you have to just work hard to get there.
Yeah.
So not everything will be available in your life. You just have to work hard to get it and achieve it.
Yeah, and guess what? At the end of the day, if you lay in bed and you say, I worked hard and I did the best that I could, that's what's going to make you happy. Because even if you do blow up and you're the next big producer, you have the next big song, guess what? You're going to lay in bed, you're going to feel good about it for a week, a month, however long the hype lasts, and then it's gone. So if you get addicted to like other people's positive feedback, you're going to be always chasing that. Meanwhile, if you get addicted to your own positive feedback and your self-recognition, you're going to feel better about yourself every single day. And it doesn't matter what other people do, whether they like what you make or not. So just keep thinking of that. You're on the right track. If you already had that realization, hey, not everything's accessible to everybody. I can't always have what I want. But hey, I have what I have and I'm going to do the best that I can with that. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to know. And you just need to keep pushing because you're going to be saying that to yourself for the next year, the next 2 years, the rest of your life. Exactly. I'm still saying that, like, and because your goals and your expectations grow with you as an artist. So even when I was buying my APC-40 original one on eBay, and I was so stoked to get that, and now I'm surrounded with all this gear, I still have hopes and dreams and aspirations and things that I want to do that are just a little bit out of my reach, but I'm doing the best with what I have, and I'll continue to do that no matter what level I'm at.
Yes, exactly.
You can do it, man. Just keep going.
Yes, sure.
All right. Stay safe, my friend. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Peace out. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
And a big...
Oh, I always cut people off accidentally. But thank you, Music Producer Ghost. That was a great call. The direct correlation for this for me right now is I'm doing this new artist project, FaceX, and I want to make music videos for the songs. I'm not a music video director, producer, creator, whatever. I know how to use a camera. I've learned a lot about video production. I don't have access to a big set or a ton of filming gear in general, but I'm doing what I can with what I have. And so far I've shot a visual for the 1,000 Miles thing, which is okay. And then I've shot like a proper music video for the first original single. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I can with what I have. And I think it turned out pretty good. And even though it's not released, I feel good about it because it's literally the best that I can do. And so when I release it, and if people say nice things about it after I release it, that's icing on the cake. That's not me. When I release it, and if people don't say nice things about it, it's not like I'm going to hate the music video or feel bad about it. I'm still going to feel good about it because it's the best that I can do. That's what it's all about, my friends. Let's keep rolling with calls because we're going long today. Let me get Samuel Messiah in here because we missed him last week. We're going to keep going. Thank you all. If I'm missing your notes in the chat, just go ahead and tag my name in your message. Don't spam though. Peace and love. Samuel Messiah, what's good?
Hello.
I didn't do the intro. I forgot. But thank you for joining today. We missed you last week.
Yeah, no, because I really don't have anything to ask until I get back into the groove. Either is today's going to be a very short segment. I only have 2 questions.
Only 2.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, either is. First one. So my MacBook's 256 gigabytes.
Love that.
And I'm wondering how much hard drive space I should get.
Well, my Mac is only, I think it's also 256. Yeah, I also have 256.
Yeah, so how much space should I get?
What do you think the answer is, Samuel? What do you think the answer is?
I don't know, as much as you can get.
Yes, exactly. You should get the biggest that you can afford. That's the bottom line. You can survive with other. So what I have, realistically, I have a 256 gigabyte MacBook, but I also have a small SSD that is one of those small Samsung ones, 1 terabyte, that is Velcroed to my laptop, which I put a bunch of things on, like my sample library and stuff like that. And all my Native Instruments plugins are on that. So it helps free up some space, but I'm surviving with 256. But get more. If you can get more, get more.
The thing is, I don't want to buy like a 500 gigabyte one and then run out of space on that one. So I have to get a 1 tera, transfer all the space, or just have 2 SSDs on the laptop.
But if you're like filling up, like there's a problem if you're filling up 500 gigabytes of space. There's a problem if you're filling up 256 gigabytes of space because you don't produce nearly the amount of content that I produce, nearly the amount of music that I produce. If you're filling up 256 and I'm surviving with 256, come on, what's the excuse?
Nat stuff.
Okay, well you share. I'll let you have that one. Fair enough. Curses, Nat. That is viable. I mean that for getting a 500 gigabyte, that's a good case for it if you guys are going to share the computer. Yeah, I don't know. Just get as much as you can afford. And a 1 terabyte to have on the side just to keep your stuff on. You know, that would help you not lose anything that you desperately need if you had a little external anyway. I think you should plan on that, especially since you're sharing a computer.
Yeah, I'm getting it either ways to back up everything because I really don't want to go through all the pain I went.
Totally.
Losing everything.
All those files are still on your computer. I know that they're still on your computer, but that's okay.
Okay, either way, second question. Or it's not really a question, but whatever. I can't listen to music the same. Like before, I used to enjoy the music for what it is.
Yep.
And now I have to critique everything I listen to. Like, it's just annoying.
Welcome to your life. This is the rest of your life. No, I hear that. It's not always annoying though. And you do have to mentally turn it off sometimes. But I don't know. I enjoy music a lot and I don't always want to analyze it. I think there is a certain mindset that certain musicians have where they feel the need to critique everything and they feel the need to sort of pick apart everything. And I am very explicit with myself, I think, in that I don't always feel the need to critique everything. I don't always feel the need to feel... I think there's a lot of ego when we learn how to make music and stuff because we listen to certain productions. And if you just make sure you never have the ego to say like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Why would they mix this like this? Like, don't question these professional mixes until you won your first Grammy. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't question the professional musicians until you've had any level of big success yourself. I think that's the thing. So when I am doing that, when I'm listening to music and sort of like consuming it for entertainment, I do try to shut off my analytical side of the brain, but sometimes it rears its head. But when I am kind of like listening to analyze, I'm only learning. I'm only taking benefit from it. I'm not critiquing. You know what I mean? So I do draw that line in my head for how I think about it. Because when you get into critiquing, it just puts you in like a negative headspace. So yeah, that's my thing. It's like I'm never just sitting there critiquing a certain mix or whatever. I'm learning from it, consuming.
Okay. That was it. That was very fast.
Very short segment. Well, how are things for you? Are you on like a school break or something?
Yeah, we have national holiday for like 5 days.
You get the most vacations.
Yeah, because like the UAE is mostly like Islamic.
Mm-hmm.
So now is Ramadan, like it's the...
But then you also had Easter off.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You get the best of all the worlds.
Yeah, but you guys also have like Thanksgiving and that stuff.
True. Fair enough. Well, take advantage of this time off, relax, entertain yourself, but then also make some stuff at the same time.
Okay.
We got these sample challenges coming up, like the 343 Labs one. You should at least enter that one.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for it.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, Samuel, I will talk to you soon. Thank you for calling in.
You too. Thank you.
Have a good one. Reminder that the 343 Lab sample challenge, just join the Discord. The link is in the description. Cool saxophone sample to flip. You got like a whole month to make something with it. It should be fun. The prize is Ozone 9. So those of you who need a cool mastering plugin, definitely something to think about. Okay, we're kind of like halfway into the stream right now. What is the thought on the standing situation? What do you guys think of the aesthetic? Let's keep rolling. Let's get Drummy Geo in here. Keep it going. My friend, Drummy Geo, I see you from the side. Cannot hear me yet, though. Hello. Just turn on your mic. Connecting via audio. Kyle Gray says, what? Oh, hey, what's up, Jeremy Gio?
Hey, how are you, bro?
I'm doing well. You have a very cool looking setup.
Oh, yeah, thanks, man. I'm working on it. It's in progress. And, you know, like I guess goes along with the whole theme for today.
Wait, hold on. Wait, pause. You
go ahead.
have an OG Control Freak shirt on.
Nah,
Can I put you on the stream visually? Do you mind?
Sure, why not?
All right, let's show this off a little bit. Drummy Geo, say hi to everybody because now you're on stream. Drummy Geo rocking the OG Control Freak merch. We love that.
Yeah, I was just trying to decide whether to wear this or the red hoodie today.
Ooh, or the red hoodie. You got multiple pieces. All right. I'll take you off camera for now, so you don't got to worry about that. But thank you for calling in, and thank you for rocking the merch.
Yeah, man. You know, I love supporting what you're doing, and the discussion is great for today. Like the studio's in progress. I think you really touched on the foundational things of the topic, being that everything is a process, you know,
Everything.
And people can't expect to just, you know, have you know, the YouTube plaque on the wall next month, you know, or anything like that. It's like, I know you've been at it for a lot longer than I've been tuned into you, but you know, everything is a process, and you know, it's definitely an endless amount of things to learn.
Of course, but that's the fun part.
That is the fun part. I mean, you know, it's plunging it all in and trying to troubleshoot things and figure it out, which is one of my questions today. But I think the main things are, like you said, you know, don't have too high of expectations. Realize that it's going to take time to process things and really become good at what you do.
Well, I'll pause that. You can have high expectations. They just have to be realistic. So if you want to say, I want to win, a realistic expectation would be something you can accomplish, right? So if you want to release an album of 10 songs, you don't want to say, I'm going to release an album of 10 songs tomorrow because you don't have 10 songs yet. If you think about how long does it take you to make 10 songs? Oh, it'll take me 6 months, and then I'll do some mixing. Let's call it 8 months. And I'll release a full album in 8 months. Then that's a high, reasonable expectation. Saying you're going to do it tomorrow, not so reasonable, you know?
Right. Well, it's like my musical background, you know, I've played live music and toured and recorded for a lot of years now and everything. So this is, you know, diving into electronic music production and that whole world. Trying to add some different things to the live performances, you know.
Yeah.
And with that, you know, it's definitely soaking up a lot of information and trying to get down what I want to produce. And you know, I think the main thing for people to get is not to do it with the wrong motives. You know,
Totally.
Like Sanjay says, you know, make the music you love.
Yep.
And if you're doing what you love, like you said, it's not work, then it's something that you're producing, you love it, and someone's going to like it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, that's what's going to keep the fire burning for you, is just doing what you love. Like you said, you know, checking out songs and music that you like and pulling from those things to create your own flavor, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about this, and you know, it's good to understand that things take time, you know, to do that. And you know, it gets frustrating. Like one of the questions that I had was, you know, I'm not a computer genius or anything by any means.
Same.
And so, you know, one of the things I wanted to do was getting this remote like record arm, you know, making this text.txt file with enable arm on selection.
Yep.
To get my arm, you know, when I switch from track to track. And it's, you know, all my projects that I have experimented with seem to have different settings. It doesn't seem to be like a global setting across all of it when I set that. So I'm having trouble with getting that to work properly, you know.
Yeah. The thing about that is, like, it's always something. Like, it's been a little while since I've had a really frustrating moment, But in my journey, it's always something, because if you think about, like, I'm not just doing music, I'm also doing the video, like the streaming, the whatever. There's so many places for technical failings, for things to get complicated. Like, that's like my whole journey is like troubleshooting and figuring out stuff that I don't know. Yeah, digging on forums and Reddit to try to figure out things that nobody knows how to do. You know, it's all of that. So yeah, you just got to embrace that and be like, all right, this is part of it. But at the end of the day, if I get to make the music I love, to quote Sanjay again, if I get to like make this cool stuff, if I get to connect with an audience, I will take some of these frustrations. You know, everything comes with balance. Everything has some type of level of frustration.
You're right, absolutely.
You're not doing anything wrong. I think that's the problem, is a lot of people get frustrated and hit roadblocks and think they're doing something wrong, but roadblocks and frustrations and technical issues are all part of the journey. Like, if you're not running into technical issues or problems or whatever, you're probably not doing enough. I think that's the bottom line.
Yep, I'm with you there, man. But, you know, just I appreciate, you know, all that you do and motivational, you know, programs and everything for, you know, inspiring people and encouragement for people that are out there. And just keep it up, man. And good work on the FaceX thing.
Thank you.
I appreciate all you do.
I appreciate you for being a big part of this community, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
Support TAETRO. We need more people out there.
Thank you so much, Jarmigio. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too, man.
All right, very positive call. Let's keep going. All right, we're probably gonna have to close the room. So if you're in the waiting room, yes, I will take the call. I will take your call, but we're probably pausing calls for now. But we're gonna keep going through. Zayad, let's get you going in here. FaceX, yeah. I'm glad you guys are liking the FaceX stuff. I know it's not for everybody, but I really appreciate it. I think you guys are gonna like the originals even more for sure. What's up, Zayad?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it. Cool shirt, dude.
Thank you. Second time I'm on call this.
I know you called in last week. So how are things going? Did you think about what we talked about last week?
Yeah, I actually created maybe 10, maybe 5 more tracks.
That's amazing. That's high productivity.
Using this piano.
Epic. You got that nice MIDI keyboard. That's perfect. So what are you doing with these tracks? What's the next move?
My next move is to create learn piano and then create lo-fi music, which I don't think I'm really good at.
Well, you're just starting, so we can't expect that we'll be really good at something that we're just starting to do, you know?
Yeah, but I started last year. I haven't been doing it that much. I mean, I got the piano a few months ago.
Sure.
A month ago, and I find my music bad, and I don't like it. I feel like I can't do this.
Why do you feel like you can't do it? It's okay that you feel like your music is not meeting your expectations, but are you being overcritical of yourself, or do you think you just need to build up your skills?
I think I might need to build up my skills.
Sure. Well, that's completely understandable. You just got your MIDI keyboard not too long ago. Let me ask you this. Have you watched any of the lo-fi streams, or I did a lo-fi tutorial thing? Like, have you watched any of those?
Yeah, but I don't really understand a lot of it.
Sure.
Because some of it I don't have the software. Some of it I just don't know how to play the piano. Yeah.
Well, you're in a time of skill building. It's okay to feel that way. You don't need to feel bad about feeling that way. I know it's not the best feeling in the world to feel like your music isn't living up to your expectations of it, but keep building your skill. Like you're building your piano skill, of course, but you do have to also build the music production skill. Those are two separate things. So right now what's colliding is like you need to learn more about music in general, and you need to learn more about music production and technology. And both of those things are pursuits of their own. Those are like very big topics on their own, and you're trying to do both. So your expectations should be set accordingly. You're trying to take on two hugely monumental tasks. So it's going to take time, and you have time. You're super young.
Yeah, but I can't find I can't find any practice. I don't know how to do it. Like,
yeah, well, the thing is, like with lo-fi beats and stuff like that, it's not like piano lessons where there's books that you can buy and gives you exercises and stuff. It's like you literally like it almost goes back to like you're a smart kid, I think, because I hear how articulate you are and I hear how you've articulated yourself in both of these calls so far. And I think that you could build up a playlist of some lo-fi beats that you really like and kind of reverse engineer what makes you like them. It goes back to that last call that I had. Like, you're not going to find it in a book. You're not going to be able to Google a lot of the things. Some of the things you will, though. And some of the things you can just identify. You don't need a book to tell you. You don't need Google to tell you. You can identify, like, this track is good because a lot of the high frequencies are rolled off and it's at this tempo and there's the sound of crickets in the background and they use a piano. They don't use this weird synth. You know, like, you're smart enough to kind of start dissecting some of those things and get something close, you know?
Yeah.
And the disadvantage we have in electronic music too, when I started making music, I was a songwriter, but I played a lot of covers. So I played a lot of other people's music. But what playing other people's music taught me about chord progressions, lyrics, melodies. Like, it taught me all the kind of like rules of the music that I was trying to make. But with lo-fi, with these more contemporary genres, there's no culture for like doing covers of a lo-fi track, or like with piano, like there's repertoire, right? Everybody learns this piece. Everybody learns Clair de Lune or whatever it is. Yeah. So you learn about it through that way, but there's no repertoire like that for contemporary electronic music. So we kind of have to build it for ourselves. So you might have to just go in, do it yourself and use your own judgment. You're, like I said, you're pretty smart. You will be able to try to recreate songs and critically identify what are the differences between your production and the productions that you really like. But it's nobody's going to hand you the answers on a silver platter. So don't, if you have that expectation and you're looking for that, this is a totally different world. It doesn't have that. So it's just up to you.
Okay.
But you can do it for sure.
Okay.
I trust. Why don't you should get some of your music on SoundCloud. Do you have that already?
Yeah, I've uploaded some.
What is your SoundCloud link?
I'll type it in chat. I don't use it that much. I use my YouTube more.
Okay, type whatever one where we can easily hear some of your music.
Okay.
And let's check it out, because my instinct tells me you're probably, of course you're not. You've only been doing this for a short amount of time, so I don't expect your tracks to be at a certain level, but I imagine they're better than you think that they are. That's what I would say. Did you put it in chat?
Yeah.
Sometimes it blocks links. What you should do, can you message it to me here on Zoom and I'll put it in the chat because it won't block me.
Okay.
The little private message thing. Perfect. All right, I'm going to put that in chat. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
So people can click. All right, people, I need you to click on that link in chat that I just put there and be the judge. What should I click on first?
Let me see.
Well, you have, first of all, let me give you a first critique is you have some Roblox videos, some video game related things, and then some music.
Yeah, I have music on the bottom. When I'm ready to do, sometimes I just make weird videos.
I respect that.
So my music.
That's cool. So which one is the track that I should listen to? Which one should I click on to hear your music?
It's title.
Because, and then this is another lesson. You should have a link ready. I should be able to instantly listen to the music you want me to hear. Right now, I just sent everybody to your YouTube channel, and they got to look through a Roblox video, and then like some Samurai Jack silliness.
I have it here.
Perfect. All right.
I created this last week.
Is this the one? This is the one that I'm hearing right now? Yes. All right, chat. I'm dropping this into the chat. This is the link you want, my friends. Now, I'm going to play it for everybody if you don't mind. All right. I'm hearing vinyl crackle. I'm hearing electric piano chords. Let me wait for these drums to come back in. Interesting chords nonetheless. Oh, I'm hearing an interesting drum pattern for sure. All right, so let me tell you, like, I'm not going to listen to this whole track right now, but I encourage people to go leave a comment on it and give some valuable feedback if you can, for our young friend here. But what I'm going to say is what I noticed just by hearing that small portion is you've got a fairly decent sound selection. But what you need to go and study now is what the actual musical ideas are of the lo-fi music you like. Because I hear that drum pattern and I hear fairly decent samples, but it's not a drum pattern that I would expect to hear in a lo-fi track. So you have to like do a little bit of studying. Like you have to literally go copy the lo-fi beats that you like. Like literally sit there with GarageBand open on one screen and like the music that you like on the other screen and just try to play out what is the exact drum pattern. What you're going to find is a lot of the music in that genre is a lot simpler than you think. So don't overcomplicate things because you're trying to be advanced. Sometimes being advanced means actually doing less and doing things a little more simply.
Okay.
That's what I say you should do next time. And next time you call into the show, I want you to be ready with a new track with taking that advice into account.
Okay.
And have a SoundCloud ready with all your tracks because you're going to want to see your progression. We're all going to want to see your progression. And it would be good for you to be able to compare your music before you did this and after you did this. And you're definitely going to want a page, if you're going to want to pursue music, that is strictly about music. It's okay if you want to do fun stuff on YouTube. I'm all about that. But have some centralized location for your music.
I can't. I don't know how to put it in. I don't know how to export my music in clear sound to the SoundCloud.
I know a great website that will tell you how to do that. Are you ready?
Yeah.
google.com. Exactly.
Okay.
You can find out anything on the internet, dude. Like I said, you're a smart kid. You can figure out how to export something and get it on SoundCloud, even if you have to do a little bit of research. You can do it.
Okay.
Keep
and
going.
Also, my dad doesn't allow me to put things in notes so I can upload them. So I'm basically screwed.
Not forever. And you're young, so your family is trying to be protective, and that's okay. But when you're actually serious about something and you have, like, you say, like, I've got this collection of songs, I really want to put them out, I want to upload them to XYZ, present it to your dad in a very, very mature, respectful manner, have a plan, set some expectations, and just see what happens. I can't guarantee that he'll switch up and say yes or whatever, but just be very clear about what you're trying to do, and what your goal is, and try to present it in a more, not saying you haven't done this, but just try to present it in a more formal way, in a way that seems a little bit less scary for a parent who's trying to protect their kid on the internet, you know?
Yeah.
You can make all these things work. You have time, but your next thing is to go and analyze some of that lo-fi music that you really like and figure out what exactly they are playing so that you can then take those techniques and put them in your music. Because like I said, your sound selection sounded pretty good. You just got to work on those patterns and what are the actual musical ideas.
Yeah. I'm also going to have my music teacher, they hired a professional finger drummer.
Oh, really?
School. Yeah.
A professional finger drummer to come to your school. You have a smart music teacher.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, learn as much as you can, like absorb as much as you can from that experience, because that is something that definitely not everybody has the advantage of having.
No, they don't. And they also know how to play some instruments.
That's dope. Well, you know, you're in the process of building your skill and learning as much as possible. So just you're a sponge. For the next year, for the next 2 years, for the next 5 years, you're literally a sponge, just soaking up everything as much as possible.
Okay.
You got this, dude. You gonna call in next time and show us some progress?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll try to.
Awesome. That's perfect. That's all we can ask for. Well, I hope you have a good one. Thank you for calling in. It was good to hear a little bit of music. I cannot wait to see what you come up with next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good one, my friend. All right. Let's keep rolling. Chat. What do we think of that? Make sure. I think it's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy to think the music that I was trying to make at a young age versus the music that I make now. So I wonder for the current generation that's has all these tools. Like when I was his age, I had like a very crappy computer, like a home computer that everybody shared, and like a microphone that plugged in with a little 3.5 millimeter jack into the back of the computer. And I was trying to record like acoustic guitar like that on like a Windows XP or computer. Like, I don't even know, before YouTube. I don't know. So like the younger, like people achieving things are going to start younger. Is what I'm saying. You're going to be able to achieve much higher level work at a younger age. That's crazy. It's just so exciting. And it will continue to progress that way. It's amazing. All right. We've got 4 more folks in the waiting room. If you didn't have a chance to call in, I apologize, but I am only going to take the remaining 4 that are in the chat. Hi, ZR. Make sure you mute the stream. I'm only going to take the remaining 4 that are in the chat. Hi, ZR. Make sure you mute the stream.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hold on 1 second. Let me turn my volume up. Okay. Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right. Sorry, man.
That's okay.
Hey.
It's a lot going on. How are you? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, so I'm like on my lunch break right now.
Oh, that's cool.
Upstate New York. I'm in my living room for my work from home situation.
Ah, nice. So you're taking like a proper lunch break at home, huh?
Yeah, I try to relax, try to take it easy when I'm got my time.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, so I guess to kind of like keep it on track, just like as some, like I know I've told you this before, but just like for people listening, like I've been into music, like, you know, I'm like I think a little bit older than you, but I've been into music like my whole life, like going to shows.
Awesome.
Like being in bands, like listening to music has been my life, like since I was in grade school. And I had like been playing guitar, drums, stuff like that since I was in middle school, high school, whatever, but like played in bands and stuff, but I never got into like actually producing, or like I never touched a keyboard, Ableton, never like officially learned music theory or anything like that until just this year. So I've been fortunate enough to have some help with getting like honestly more gear than I really need at the moment, which has been a great place to start. But I just like have a lot to learn. So like one of the things that I've kind of been struggling with, or just like trying to be conscious of, is like progress on a daily basis, and like knowing what actually comes out to be something helpful, or what is like, it's just hard to gauge progress. You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, the way you gauge progress is making stuff, finishing it, and then moving on to the next thing. And also realizing that you don't get to see the progress until you zoom out. Like you're not going to see progress in maybe a week. You might not see a progress in a month, but you might see progress after 3 months, after 6 months. Engaging, that's why I say about finishing things, getting it done, and moving on to the next thing. Because if you exported something today, and then you worked hard for 6 months, for 3 months, whatever, and then you exported a track 3 months from today, you should be able to put those 2 tracks next to each other and recognize some progress. Even if you did the bare minimum, you would see some positive change.
Yeah. I know it's not like, I don't know. I don't necessarily know that I need advice, or just kind of also to like help people that are like learning and everything as well.
Bro, sometimes people call into the show and it's like, sometimes I used to work with like youth and stuff too. Sometimes a kid would come to me and tell me something because they want me to rash them, because they want me to like tell them how dumb what they just said to me was, you know? So I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm saying people call in because they just need to hear something come from somebody else. Like you already know what you need to do. You already know what progress looks like, but sometimes you just need it said out loud from not in your own head, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like also like to not only like for myself, but also for like the other, like obviously there's like a lot of younger people listening and stuff too. It can be helpful, and just like newer people like learn. Like I'll sometimes get like I'll be working on a beat or whatever it might be, and just like I'll realize like an hour and a half later, like I've been messing around with like one plugin or one effect, like one EQ thing for that whole time. And it's like, it might not seem like you really walk away with a lot to show on that track, but you at least have found at least some familiarity with what you like how to do it, like just getting that kind of like muscle memory into doing, like, now that I spend an hour doing that, like next time I want to do something similar, it's going to take me 10 seconds.
Exactly.
And that's all. If you're learning like a bunch of things at once, just like getting just like every little piece of it into like a second nature thing, like every little bit of that is helpful.
And spending 90 minutes on a plugin, like learning whatever it is, like tweaking that plugin, learning the ins and outs of it, actually accelerates your process in the future. Because if you spend, 60 to 90 minutes learning something about like even just a basic EQ, now you apply that to every single one of your productions going forward. You're not spending 90 minutes every single time going forward on your EQ because you already learned about it, you already tweaked it, you already understand what you like about it. So that not only saves you time in the future, but it takes your productions to the next level. Now imagine you spend 90 minutes on 10 different concepts, 900 minutes total, right? Like think about how much better your productions will be after that. It's crazy. Yeah. As long as you're doing and consuming the right, like, I don't think you should just sit there and tweak knobs until like you kind of get it sound good. I think you should sit there side by side with some instructional content and learn really what you're doing. But if you do that properly and then you do some tweaking and then you kind of do it your own way, you definitely have the bandwidth to go and like progress like significantly far. But like what I just talked about, I said 900 minutes. Like, how long is it going to take you to sit there for 900 minutes? You know what I mean? I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, that's if you do like an hour a day for 10 days, or that's 600, but you know what I mean? Like, set that expectation accordingly. And that's not how our brains work anyway. You might do like an hour deep dive into something on a Monday and spend your whole week kind of understanding that and building on that foundation. And then next week you spend an hour on a different concept. So then when you think about that timeline, if you're doing one major concept for an hour to 90 minutes a week to get to that 900 minute mark, you're talking about 9 weeks, 2 months ish, like, so that's where the expectation setting comes in,
Yeah, I guess so. It's just helpful to hear that. And just also like any time that you're taking, like learning or just interfacing, like watching YouTube videos, like whatever it might be, like even if you remember like 5 seconds of that 10-minute video that you watched, like that's still something that's going to come in handy for you. So I don't know. I think a lot of people do get discouraged by like what they're putting out, but like if you've been doing something for like 1% or less of your entire lifetime, like you can't expect to just hit the ground running with that.
For sure.
Like
and
the last person, that piano came in sounding great, but then you realize like, those drums, like just work on like some basic finger drumming or whatever it might be. Like you got a great start to it. You just got to keep doing it.
Just got to keep, but it's also about being diligent about it too, because what I put on myself is like, if I'm not achieving a certain goal or a certain expectation, I look at my process. So like maybe I did watch an hour-long YouTube tutorial or something, but I didn't really actively watch it. Like I didn't actually take away, maybe I learned one core concept, but there were like 10 other concepts that I needed to learn. So I always look inward at the process, because if you're getting frustrated with your output, you do have to look at that process and be like, what can I do to make this better? Like, oh, I'm not actually doing this diligently. I'm not actually like doing this in a systematic way that's helping me learn. I'm just doing this in a kind of consuming kind of way. So it's always like, you can always improve your process, but you can always kind of meet somewhere in the middle. We have high expectations, we have our process. Somewhere in the middle, we're going to have realistic expectations, and our process is going to match what we're actually capable of in this moment.
That makes sense. I think one thing I might start doing too, just to kind of help with that, like if you know that there's something specifically that you need to work on, or like one thing that you wanted to improve with the track, because there's like so much to learn. There's so much you can tweak and mess around with like for the rest of your life. And I'm going to start setting like a list or like a reminder of like a specific thing that I want to have perfected or done or progress progress made on that, just to make sure, like, before I get up from my desk, like, I'm going to have at least this one part done. I might get some other stuff in there along the way, but at least get that one thing done. That way you're at least like focusing your progression on things that you actually want to, or know that you need to progress on.
And being like realistic, like, okay, I have this one thing that I really want to do, or this one thing I really want to learn. Is that going to take me one session, or is that going to take me this whole week to actually not be frustrated and do it right? Like being
right.
Having those expectations around time. And also, like, there's just been things that you're never going to, you're never going to perfect something. You know what I mean? You're always going to be able to do something better. But when you do have those moments of focus and you can like level up immensely, like you can go from here to here and you're just like skyrocketing, like you might not have perfected it, but you're miles ahead of where you started. Like with this new project, getting good at vocal production was something that was important to me. So I spent a lot of time like learning and figuring out what plugins to use and what techniques to use and whatever. So like I had to do some significant leveling up. And do I think that it's perfect? No, but I think I am miles ahead from when I first started, and I'm okay with that. And I'm feeling good about that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, ZR, man, thank you so much for calling in. I hope you can do it again in the future.
Yeah. Thanks for help. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one. We love people calling in on the lunch break. Accurate Beats in the chat. Please go to Accurate Beats channel. Accurate, you've been doing some streams lately. I've seen a little bit of. That's pretty cool. I know, Accurate, you also got the M1. Am I right about that? The Mac Mini? Please, I would love to hear thoughts about how that's going. I was thinking about getting the M1. My laptop is fine. The battery life is sus. It overheats a little bit, but it works. I can survive. It's a 2018. So I was thinking about getting the M1 2020 13-inch, but somebody tweeted at me and said, wait till the fall refresh. So now am I going to wait till the fall? I can survive to the fall. I feel like I just want to buy something. I think that's what it is. Rob Starks, let's get you in here. Keep going with these calls today. What are we going to go for, a 2-hour show today? Maybe. Hey, what's up, Rob?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been watching your channel for a while now. Like,
awesome.
I went down the YouTube rabbit hole of like Curtis King, and then you, and then a couple other people, and then like, do you use Ableton?
I do use Ableton Live. That is my DAW of choice and has been for such a long time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just because I've been just watching a lot of these videos in quarantine, and I have to circle back to TAETRO. So definitely in the beginning, like I have this Novation keyboard, and
nice.
Definitely you're one of the people I watched in the beginning, and definitely I've been on Ableton for about it's been a while, like a year now. So
awesome.
Definitely a lot of the tips you're talking about Ableton helped me in the beginning.
I'm happy to hear that. What kind of music you making?
So this is actually I have a big question for you today, because it actually has a lot to do with my style and what I've been doing with my music.
Let's do it.
So have you heard of like Famous Dex and like Chief Keef and stuff like that?
Totally, yeah.
So that's a really big scene in LA and stuff. So I've actually worked with Famous Dex engineer.
Nice.
And then like he also had a producer in the session and stuff. But I've been doing a lot of inward reflection and stuff during the quarantine. So my style is not trap, bro. Like I'm a skateboarder. Like I should not have even been in that type of session, smoking all kind of blunts with them and stuff like that.
For sure.
So for someone who's starting in piano, my question is going to be, what is the big difference between learning sheet music and learning this stuff in the DAW? And what is it like when you're trying to, like, I don't know how to put into words, like, so when you decide to take your career to the next level and you're going to be performing and stuff, what determines whether you're going to be playing your piano live or not? How does that
I hear that for sure.
And how does that shake hands with this type of style, if that makes sense? Like, I don't know. That's just the most. That's as clear as I could ask that question.
Do you want to be shredding on the piano like I don't even know. Do you want to be shredding on classical pieces, or do you basically want to be accompanying yourself to be able to play your own tunes live? That's my question for you.
I feel like both, like, that's a really good question, but I feel like both of them make the voice less important. And this is something that I've really been touching on recently over the past couple of days. I've been going back and forth with my dad with it. Sorry to get all deep.
It's okay. No, it's fine.
But yeah, my dad is classically trained, and he was just telling me a lot about, you know, being classically trained and sight reading and stuff. But I'm more of going, if I were to compare it, I would say I really like the Post Malone style, how he's kind of melodically rapping out loud.
Totally.
And he comes from a rock background, and I know he could play guitar, but you don't see him always playing guitar, you know? So
yeah, I think at the end of the day, do you want to be like a person that's known for being a pianist, or do you want to be a person like an artist like that, exactly what you just described with Post Malone? Like, if I talk about Post Malone, I'm not saying Post Malone is the best guitarist I've ever seen, but I might see Post Malone playing guitar, and I might like just notice that he's accompanying himself playing guitar. Now, when Post Malone plays like power chords and he's playing with himself, like that's super achievable. Like that's achievable for anybody that wants to be a songwriter or learn an instrument. Same thing with keyboard. Like if you just want to play chords and play your tunes because you want to do a live situation, that's totally achievable for you as well. Like, I don't think you need to go learn a bunch of sheet music. I don't think you need to be classically trained. I think you should learn some progressions of the music that your style sort of emulates and go from there. And you're going to learn a lot from learning that music, but do it in a diligent way where you learn these chord progressions, you understand this music, the style that you want to make, and you think about how you're applying it to your own music. Don't just learn a Post Malone song in a bubble. You know what I mean? Like, learn a Post Malone song and think about it in relation to all the other music you're hearing and all the other music you're making. And when you can play along with all that stuff, like that's enough. But also don't overthink this either. Like make the music you want to make and then think about the live show. Because maybe you're not going to play keyboard for yourself live all the time, just like you said with Post Malone. Maybe you're going to just sing on some of the tunes, whatever it may be. But learning keyboard, I will say, will absolutely help improve your production skills because you'll be able to do stuff way faster. You've got the Novation keyboard, so you should definitely learn some basic keyboarding for sure. I don't think you need to go as far as to learn classically. That's my take. I don't think that's practical because what are you going to do? Go to piano lessons once a week and then practice for X amount of hours a week. That's not going to help you get closer to your goal. That's just going to take up your time. Sure, you'll learn a valuable skill, but the amount you'll be able to apply to your current music will not be that much.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that, because like, oh my gosh, dude, like you're spot on with it. So when I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm at some super high level or something, but so when it comes to like studio sessions and me being experienced with studios, I used to buy beats. Now I'm making this stuff,
That's awesome.
by hand.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, so this is all like, for me, honestly, I feel like it's sluggish to me because I'm making a whole beat.
But does it feel good? Does it feel better making your own beat versus buying the beats? Does it feel better?
Yes.
Okay, that's all you need to know. Like if that makes you feel better and that makes you feel like more happy as an artist, that's all that matters. Who cares if it's slower? You're going to get faster. You know, the more that you do it, you're going to get faster. So yes, of course it's slow at first. You just started doing it, but you're going to get faster at it and it's making you happier. So think about how much happier you're going to be when you get even better at this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like,
and you don't have to wall yourself, and it's both. You don't have to wall yourself off. If you maybe collaborate with some producer who made this fire beat, maybe you can add a little something to it, but maybe you don't have to make every single track of yours from scratch because maybe it's both. But if you are really loving this, like making your own instrumentals and stuff, dive head first into that because you're going to get better over time the more you get into it. And it's going to be fire. Just keep going.
For sure.
Happiness over everything. Happiness over everything. That's the bottom line.
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely going to resub. I'm starting to set up a new channel, everything. I have everything separated, and can I like leave a little comment on what happened earlier in your in the live stream?
Yeah.
So I have a gaming channel that is separate. So my producer channel separate, gaming channel separate, and then as a vocalist, it's separate from where I'm making beats. Like if I'm gonna end up streaming just beats on Spotify later on.
Yep.
But yeah, like I have all that stuff separate, and I wouldn't have like my Grand Theft Auto video, or like even if I have music in the background of the gaming stuff, it's separate from my music channel.
Right. And at this stage in the game, I think that's the smartest thing to do, because I don't, like I say this with peace and love, nobody knows who you are yet, right? So if I don't know who you are and I show up to your channel and it's got this crazy variety of content, if there's no focus, I'm less likely to subscribe and dig deeper. But if I show up to your channel and it is, like you said, just music based, cool. All right, this dude's a musician. I get it. I like the music. I'll sub. Or vice versa with the gaming. Oh, this guy plays a game that I like. He's really funny. I'm going to sub and watch. The only reason when we see these big influencers and celebrities and stuff that kind of do it all, like I was talking about Logic earlier in the stream, and because I just listened to a podcast with his manager, but Logic did this big deal with Twitch not too long ago where he's playing video games. The reason that works for Logic, the reason it's a huge deal when Drake plays Fortnite is because we already know who Drake is. We already know who Logic is. So we are showing up for them, even though they're playing like a video game, they're not doing music. But when we're unknown artists and nobody knows who we are, we need that focus at first. Once you get people hooked on your personality, then a percentage of your music audience will jump over to your gaming channel. A percentage of your gaming audience will jump over to your music channel. It will never be 100% both ways, but there will be crossover. But when you're just starting as an unknown artist, you're doing it exactly right. Separate things for now, and then bring it all together when people start to catch on.
For sure. And are you on live stream like this every week?
Every Tuesday. I'm actually live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. On Tuesdays, we do this show, TAETRO Talks. On Thursdays and Saturdays, we do like more music making stuff. So I'm actually like doing tutorials and beat making and all that.
For sure. All right. Well, good. Like, thank you so much, dude. Like, I know this is more of a vocalist related question.
It's fine.
This is more for, but yep, you spot on. You took the words right out. Man.
Like I said, sometimes we just got to hear somebody else say what we're already thinking, you know? We just got to hear it put a different way. Thank you. That was an awesome call, man. Thank you so much for calling. Good luck to you, and I hope to hear from you again soon.
No problem. Yep, I'm subbing right now, so definitely I'll be in the stream more, bro.
Awesome. Peace out. Good call. Yeah, I don't think it matters. It's like vocalist, not vocalist, instrumentalist, producer, whatever. Like, we're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to make our own stuff and get it out there to a big audience. All right, we got 2 more calls today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I know we're going for a kind of a long show today, but I'm having a good time. Standing has not proved to be hard. Standing has actually given a slightly different energy today's stream, I think. So I think that that's cool. All right, I've got Nigel Hoffman, and then I will take David Carr. Those are my last 2 calls today. Nigel, you're coming in right now. Hi, Nigel. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for calling in. Where are you calling in from?
From Atlanta, near Stone Mountain, actually.
Amazing. Well, dope, man. Thank you again for calling. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first off, I just want to say it's awesome what you do. You're really inspirational. And this call show is really cool too. So
thanks.
So I actually started kind of like classical, played guitar and piano. But now I've been getting more into live performances and production in Ableton.
Nice.
So maybe for about a year or so now, I've been doing production in Ableton. And I started just a few months ago performing live outside at a restaurant. And right now I'm using like a looper pedal, but I really wanted to incorporate more of my my production skills in and use my MIDI keyboard and that sort of thing.
Totally.
I feel like I'm kind of, unlike the guy in 2 calls ago, I feel like I'm kind of limited in some of my hardware, like my audio interface, only having 1 output and that sort of thing. But I've seen like some of the stuff you do. Ableton is just so powerful.
Absolutely.
That I've been learning that I can really incorporate that into, a live performance and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Would you have any like big tips or things that I should look into before going out? Because that's also a big thing for me. Right now I have the looper pedal. It's working well, but I feel a little bit almost scared to just bring out the laptop and if something goes wrong, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is tough. Well, the number one thing on that is like practicing your set over and over again, like 20, 30 times before you go out. Not because maybe you don't need that much practice, but what that much practice will give you is it'll first of all give you the confidence, and second of all, if you do practice your set 30 times, pretty much not everything that can go wrong will go wrong, but most of the things that could possibly go wrong you'll experience, but you'll experience them in rehearsal, and you'll figure out how to solve those problems. So like I used to do like very similar stuff. I used to go perform live. Me and Joseph McCaffrey actually used to go play out at this restaurant like one summer in Bristol, Rhode Island. It's crazy how we used to do the same thing. But what I can say about like live sets and stuff in general is problems always pop up. Sometimes you have the set, like a lot of times you have a set where nothing really goes wrong, but when things do go wrong, you want to be able to solve the problems quickly. And what that preparation does is allows you to like not derail your entire live set, because a crowd can totally read that. An audience can read that. Like if you are having an issue and you go into like a meltdown because of this issue, it's a weird vibe, right? But if you have an issue and you're just like confidently solving it, everybody forgets about the issue as soon as you jump back into your set. You know, it's not like this weird energy. So I would do I do as much preparation and rehearsal as much as you can, not just to rehearse the material, but to find every single problem, every single tech issue that could possibly occur. And then there will be tech issues that only occur once you get on the stage. And the only way you learn how to deal with those is by getting on stage and doing those performances, unfortunately. But we all have to go through it. The other thing you said about like gear, like feeling limited in gear. I know I talk about this a lot about gear. For a lot of the audience, people call in and say, I can't do XYZ because I don't have the gear. And for most of them, the answer is, well, you don't actually need gear to do what you're doing. However, in a case like yours, where you're doing like a live performance or something, if you have an actual technical need, you might find a piece of gear that will either make your life easier or help you achieve certain things that you couldn't achieve otherwise. So there is practical need for gear. Sometimes I'll say that. I know I go hard on people who say they need gear, but I think there's a practical need at times for gear. And I have a video on the Live Logic MIDI controller. It's like a MIDI foot pedal. It's something you should...
I think I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, it's worth checking out because that is the only foot pedal that has an Ableton Live control script, meaning like it's programmed specifically for Ableton Live. So for you as a pedal looper that wants to get more into the laptop stuff, I think that's worth checking out. But there's so many possibilities with Live, man. Like... And maybe incorporate the laptop in a more basic way. Maybe the laptop's just acting as like a singular instrument for your first couple sets, like a singular synth, and then maybe you add in a couple drum loops for the next set. Like get more comfortable and ease into it. Don't feel like you have to completely switch over to using the laptop, because then you're gonna feel like a fish out of water, you know?
Yeah. No, that's cool that you say that too. And I think I have seen the looper video. I think a big thing for me was having that, foot switch there, just because I'm so used to it. So yeah, I'll definitely have to try just like maybe have a drum track going or that sort of thing, and then do like a little bit of synth stuff or something like that. With my pedal board, I think when I got those pedals, maybe I went overboard with the hardware, and
it can be easy to do that with a pedal board, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so it's really nice and I love it. And then going to the laptop, I'm realizing like, wow, all this stuff is in Ableton. I can do all this stuff.
Totally.
So it's almost kind of hard for me to switch over because of that too.
Like, it's heartbreaking to not use all the gear that you bought, to know that there's a software solution. But hey, I think there's an advantage. There's a lot less processing power if you're going to use all those pedals. So if you're going to use physical pedals, you actually have a little bit of an advantage because your computer isn't processing all these effects. So don't feel like just because you can do it in live doesn't mean you necessarily should. There might be an advantage to using physical pedals.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just take it kind of slow then.
Yeah.
And do like what I can't do with the pedals. And then maybe if I really like it, then I'll start incorporating some of this stuff in Ableton.
Because one day you might get called for a gig and you're like, damn, I can't bring my whole pedal board with me for whatever reason. Yeah. So, but by that time you'll be a little more confident and you'll know like, oh, I can set up a similar situation just in the software, and maybe it becomes a convenience thing. And then when you can, you'll use your pedal board, like you're just adding tools to your toolkit, right? It's not one or the other.
Mm-hmm. One big thing I've had, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not, but every once in a while, Ableton for me just crashes, and I have to unplug and replug in my audio interface, and I don't get any sound in it. That's what I'm most scared of happening when I'm on stage, like just the audio cuts out completely.
Yeah. Well, things like that do happen. Like, this is probably not practical for you, but a lot of people run like dual setups where it's like they're both running set. That's what they do at like the major level, so that can't happen. But in your individual situation, it's just about like trying to figure out what causes that issue. Using a Windows laptop by chance?
Yeah, I do.
So like that just rarely happens on Mac. So like the thing about it is like the tech, like figure out what people who are doing similar things, figure out what tech they're using, because if they're not having similar issues, like it could be anything from a cable connection is loose and it causes it to unplug. Like it could be anything. So you want to make sure you have like the best tech possible. Like random things like that are going to happen, but how do you get to be in the position where they happen very rarely? And that's just by like having the best tech that you can get, you know? But, you know, it might happen live, but if you rehearse 30 times and it happens 1 out of those 30 times, I would feel a little more confident going on stage, being like, there's a 1 in 30 chance. It might happen. And then when it does happen, figure out a backup plan. Maybe you have like a little iPad to the side that's running some kind of aux background check that you can, so it's not an awkward silence or something you can hit play on real quick that gives you a little more sense of calm while you're troubleshooting and restarting. Just having something you can pivot to, I guess, from the laptop.
That gave me an idea. If I can figure out a hardware kind of way to get the guitar always looping separate from the DAW, then maybe if it cuts out, I still have the guitar going, and then all my synth stuff and plugins are in the DAW.
Totally. It's definitely like a hybrid setup like that is genius. And even if you're not using the looper as the backbone, if you just kept the looper there just for that situation, and laptop crashed. Well, maybe no one will notice that the laptop crashed. Maybe they just thought the music stopped and you're just going to quickly start looping something on the pedal that plays while you restart your laptop. You know what I mean? It's all about these little quirky, like improvisational things that you can do to cover up. Because half the time people do not know when we're making mistakes, you know? People do not notice. Like, unless it's very, very obvious, people will just assume something is supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was a great call. I hope to hear from you again in the future. I'd love to hear more about how these performances are going and stuff.
Yeah, I'll be checking out the streams more often. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nigel. Have a good one.
Cool. You too. Bye.
Bye. Beisha, what's good? Beisha coming in at the end of the show. What is this? So Tokyo Sakura says, Wizard Jacket of You. Sure. David Carr, our last call of the day. Let's get it. Everybody, thank you for tuning in today. This has been a fun show. David, how are you?
Good. I'm real good.
David, we got matching SM7Bs.
Oh, yes, we do, bro.
Heck yeah.
Do you have your low cut filter on?
That's a great question. I think so. Maybe.
Does it sound better?
I don't know. I don't hear myself. Only the stream hears me.
I see. I have like Ableton in the background with a bunch of effects that I could turn on with.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's like I get to hear my thoughts at all times. That's in real time.
Love that. Well, what's up, man? What do you want to chat about? You're a character.
Oh, you know I am. So are you, bro. I'm super happy for this. I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. I'm sad I don't get to see you through the Zoom call though.
I know. It's only it's just because the way the tech works with the stream and stuff.
I get it. But my question number one pretty much for you is I'm into live stuff. Ooh, I think I saw you say something in the chat and then okay, so yeah, the YouTube thing's a little off stream. All right. So my first question is like about Cali and like first moves when you first land and touchdown. I'm into live stuff and I throw concerts for like all the kids I went to high school with and have a good time, but I'm looking to just step up my game and go somewhere I haven't been since I was like a kid.
Well, it's a weird time because I moved to LA in June and everything has been pretty much shut down. Right now, things are pretty much opening back up. And what I will also say is that I'm a very introverted person, so I'm not like you with throwing like parties and stuff like that. Like I am very much a stay at home. That's why the home studio music production angle has kind of worked really well for me. Because I am very much about like being in the process. Music has also always been kind of insular for me. So I would say we're probably two different personalities, but you're on the right track of like wanting to get to a city like LA or like a hub where things are happening, because if you want to be part of that scene and part of that culture, there is a place, there's so many things going on in the city. And even now, right now, and I think going into the summer, everything is just going to explode. Like we're already seeing it. Like when we walk around, so many people are out, restaurants are reopening, venues are reopening. I'm seeing more and more social media posts of tours and festivals getting booked. So like, it's going to be a good time. What I'll say is be a little cautious, because when we get back to fall, winter, we might have like a weird cold and flu cautious season because of what we just went through. But man, you got to be in one of these cities. Where are you currently from, did you say?
So currently right now I'm in a town that's like an hour and a half away from Seattle called Birmingham, the good old 360.
So you're in like a small town.
Yeah, I would say small town. It gets pretty crazy, but compared to what else is out there, it's a small town.
Yeah,
you
for
could get
sure.
Across it in like no more than like 40 minutes. You could be out of this town from the furthest end. But I do come from Missouri, like all the way down south.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was thinking about going to St. Louis before I go to Cali, just to see a little bit of my family and see what I could do in St. Louis. But because like there, they never believed in COVID at all. And when I worked at the hospital, it kind of got proved that a lot of the things going on are really to no avail. So they already kind of settled in back quick. But like you said, I've been seeing all these things, all these like gatherings and indoor events, and it just seems like, you know, a fourth of the room is filled and all that. So definitely interesting to see what happens in June, what they, you know, open back up again. But in the meantime, I've been doing a lot of outside stuff and like live looping. Like I said, I got
your launch key.
Oh yeah, I love the small one. I got the big one too, but the small one's perfect. Fits in a backpack. And if I wanted to, I could also bring the MPK Mini as extra knobs and stuff like that. But I'm a guitar player, and you had a video on this foot pedal, and we were just talking to the last guy about it. So the day I saw that video, I called my homeboy up and I was like, yo, I know what we need.
Nice.
And go drop like, I think it was like $15. And on like a Metal Zone one, I like to get it all minimalistic, because I got like a small Jansport backpack to fit all this in.
Of course. There's freedom in that, right? Being able to throw all your stuff in a backpack and just go.
Literally, it's like the only problem is this damn Mac battery. You said yours was draining quick. Mine is doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's just over time, they just like get so bad. And I try to be diligent with mine and not plug it in all the time and have it drain. But like now it's like service recommended. I think it's just the lifespan of these batteries. And of course, it costs a ton to get it replaced from Apple. And what am I going to do? Give up my computer for a week while they ship it out somewhere and replace my battery? I don't think so.
Literally, I know. It's like, I just wish I build computers like Mac, or not Macs. Mac's the like hardest thing to build. But these like Windows computers I used to build all the time, and power supply goes out, you just run to the store. But this is like warranty, and then pay for it if the warranty doesn't go through. Then, you know, the wait period, like you said. I'm just not about that, man.
For sure.
Get to work. But this is like literally just out of the box for like 2 weeks, and the battery was already like bust. You know?
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
But it is nicer. I was running on like a 2017 mid-tier MacBook Air, and I was pushing it to do some of the craziest things. Like, I wish I could play you a song right now, but I don't upload anything in the moment because like I'm 19 and trying to just wait until like the right moments and stuff like that. But
there's no right moment. Just get stuff out there.
You're right.
It doesn't matter, because the thing you make a year from now is going to be way better than the thing you make today, and you're not going to want to release it anyway. So you might as well release it now as a mark of what you're capable of in this moment. Let yourself build a little something on top of that, or have something to compare yourself in a year or two. You know, just start putting stuff out. Don't wait for that right moment. Even if you do under a different name later, you know, like whatever, just get stuff out. Like, it doesn't matter. There's no right time.
I definitely see what you mean. I definitely will be sharing it to like friends and family for the most part, but as like a public release, because I'm looking to do some like, you know, record label type stuff within the next 10 years, but I've got to go, you know, put my time in and go work as an intern at a couple studios just to get that, you know, because I've been to like one in this town, which is surprising. There's like a bunch of rappers, and that's who I mainly work with. I rap with a bunch of people, but
nice.
You know, I get a bunch of people that aren't really about it, and then they record even on this shirt, and I put their voice on so many microphones that I have, and you know, it's just so hard to work with it. But then I get somebody who like I really believe in, and it's just like some of the most magical productions, I swear on it. So those are the songs that I'm like looking to release, but part of it is that person is like, no, you know, maybe it needs to be remixed, or, and I'm like, no, you just need to retake if anything. But I play it for people, they love it and all that. So
dude, if I could make one observation, you seem like a real like people person, and I like the path that you sort of kind of like painted here a little bit. Like you want to get into the industry, do some record label stuff, you're working with artists. Like for you, like getting to a major city where you can meet even more people, and you're even talking about going over here, then going over there, like meet as many people in as many of these cities as possible and build those connections. Because someone like me, I don't have those, not that I don't have the skill, but I don't have the instinct to go out and meet a bunch of people and do that sort of thing. But if you have that, lean into that. And if you like working with people, if you like that magic moment where you get somebody on the mic and it sounds dope and you really want to go all in on it, you should do that as much as possible, man, because it sounds like you're passionate about it and you have that instinct. So you should take that and run with that as far as you can.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to start right here, man. You down to make a track sometime soon?
Yeah, I might be for sure. You should email me, taetro.music@gmail.com, and see what you got, what you want to like send over, what you want to work on.
Sure. I could send you some either instrumentals or ones with vocals. And I work with this girl for a bunch of like the newer tracks that I made. I'd sit down and I'd like bust out 4 tracks in a sitting.
Nice. Yeah, I'm working on, I got this new project that I've been working on with vocals and stuff on it too. So like any kind of crossover with that makes a lot of sense for me in this moment. So you might have caught me at a right time, but if you want to hit me on that email and just send me something, I'll react to it at least and tell you what I think and see if we can work something out.
Sure. What about that Insta? Do you think you respond on that well? But I definitely will send an email.
You will have a much easier time getting to me on email than on Instagram, because I get so many message requests that I hate my inbox.
No, I get that. Well, I definitely will be doing that. Just to let you know, the email is just going to be David J. Carr. So
got it. I'm going to look out for it.
There'll be like 2 more things right behind that, but you'll see it. You won't miss it.
I won't miss it. All right. That's amazing, dude. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what we can come up with.
So I'm super hyped. In the meantime, I've been asking everybody this, but what is one of your favorite like acoustic or just guitar songs that you love to sing along to?
Oh, that is a great question. I'm opening my Spotify just to look at it. I'm a big fan of the 1975. They're like one of my favorite all-time bands for sure. And that's like guitar music. They have a song called Robbers. That's one of their classic songs. It's like a super like guitar ballad sort of thing. That tune is like one of my top songs. It's like a straight up rock ballad, guitar bass, guitar riff. That's like one of my all-time favorites. There's this other song that I'll shout out, Beach Bunny. It's this like female-led group. They have a song called Good Girls, and it's like a really dope guitar rock song, pop punk song. Oh, nice telly.
This thing was a dream. I went to go buy a bass, and they hired like 2 new girls instead of me at Guitar Center, and they couldn't help me figure stuff out. And then as I was about to leave, I saw somebody just went and sold this to them, so I had to wait a month. But it was so worth it. It was like a dream guitar that just, shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, that's dope, man. All right, man. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Let's get in touch, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I hope you have a good one.
You too. Peace out, man. Good calls today, everybody. Thank you to everybody who called in. This was a fun stream. Man, we talked to people from all over the place today. We went for a long one too. 2 hours. Feels good. I'm sorry if I neglected chat a little bit. It's hard to do the calls and answer the chat at the same time, but we can just hang here and chat for a bit while things are finishing up. Hope you all are well. I don't know what I'm going to do on stream on Thursday yet. But on Saturday, we've got a track review stream. So that should be very fun. Members, make sure that if you didn't submit to the first track review stream, you can submit to this current one coming up. Also, people that I didn't get to last track review stream, be doing your tracks this time around. And hopefully we'll have some time to do some non-member reviews, but we'll see what happens with the 3 hours. Siam says, first time watcher, enjoying the stream. I'm glad. Drunk Bishop says, best call show yet? Cool. Interesting. Yeah, there were a lot of really good questions today. I like finding like a topic and ranting on it because I feel like it guides the conversation and things are a little less random. Yes, you all know tomorrow I'll be live on ADSR. But let's not forget that 343 Labs just launched their community sample challenge. The Discord link is in the description. It's in the top line. So please enter that. We've got our own Max Wild playing saxophone, and you can enter judging the winner. The winner will win Ozone 9, which is a really amazing mastering plugin from Isotope. So please join the 343 Labs Discord and enter into the sample challenge. You've got like a month, a little less than a month. June 1st is when we're doing it. Dane says, love your 1,000 miles. Thank you so much. Yes, Nightbot just posted the link, but if you all want to go give a follow to my new project, it's living on Instagram right now, but I'm going to drop a visual, kind of a music video, but not quite this week. So that's the link right there. If you all want to click it, I just posted it in chat. It would mean the world to me if you went and followed FaceX, which is my new project. I'm going to have original music real soon. If you tuned in late, go back, watch the beginning of the stream. I think there's a lot of worthwhile stuff. We also take clips from these streams, like some of the most motivational, best parts of the call-in shows, the podcast, whatever. We put it on the podcast feed. So just type in TAETRO Radio on your favorite podcast app, and you will find it. You'll even hear the voice of Joseph McCaffrey on that podcast. So watch out. Really appreciate all of the calls. We appreciate all the support. Thank you all, everybody who's following FaceX and supporting. It's kind of a weird new project, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Trying to just do stuff a little differently than I do for TAETRO. So, all right, everybody, that's it for today. This was a fun stream. Thank you to everybody who watched over on the 343 Labs channel. I appreciate it. Make sure you sub to 343 Labs. 343 Labs will have a stream tomorrow on sampling in Ableton Live. So if you all want to get into the nitty gritty of that, check that out. DJ Ox, I think that's a really smart idea. We're still trying to perfect the way we do it, because definitely these midday streams are have more viewership than the evening streams generally. So yeah. All right, everybody. I posted on Instagram today asking like what more content you want to see, what different style content. Got a beat video coming out tomorrow. There's so much happening this week, everybody. Just make sure you have notifications on. That's all I can say. Subscribe, notifications on, follow on Twitter and Insta because I post there daily. And when I post something on YouTube, I send a link out to it so you can't miss it. Thank you all so much. Distraction Sound, sorry we didn't get to your call today. We will get to more calls on a future episode. Thank you all so much. We've been going for a long time. We're going to cut it now. That's it. Bye, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.